The politics of Turkmenistan takes place in the framework of a presidential republic, whereby the President of Turkmenistan is both head of state and head of government. Turkmenistan has a multi-party system. Turkmenistan is sometimes described as a reclusive ex-Soviet nation. Political background: after 69 years as part of the Soviet Union, Turkmenistan declared its independence on 27 October 1991. President for life Murat Niyazov, a former bureaucrat of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, ruled Turkmenistan from 1985, when he became head of the Communist Party of the Turkmen SSR, until his death in 2006. He retained absolute control over the country after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. On 28 December 1999, the Majlis declared Niyazov president for life. Prior to 2008, the authorities permitted only a single political party, the Democratic Party of Turkmenistan. Political gatherings are illegal unless government-sanctioned. All citizens must carry internal passports, noting place of residence, a practice carried over from the Soviet era. Movement into and out of the country, as well as within its borders, is difficult. Turkmenistan is dominated by a pervasive cult of personality extolling the late President Niyazov as Turkmenbasi, a title he assumed in 1993. His face adorns many everyday objects, from banknotes to bottles of vodka. The logo of Turkmen National Television is his profile. The 2 books he has written are mandatory readings in schools, and public servants are quizzed yearly about the knowledge of the contents. They are also common in shops and homes. Many institutions are named after Niyazov's mother. All watches and clocks made must bear his portrait printed on the dial face. A giant 15-meter-tall gold-plated statue of Niyazov stands on a rotating pedestal in Ashgabat, so it will always face into the sun and shine light onto the city. A slogan popular in Turkmen propaganda is "Hark, Watin, Turkmenbashi." Niyazov renamed the days of the week after members of his family and wrote the new Turkmen national anthem, Oath, himself. Foreign companies seeking to exploit Turkmenistan's vast natural gas resources cooperated with Niyazov since he also controlled access to the natural resources. His book, Runama, which is revered in Turkmenistan almost like a holy text, has been translated into 41 languages as of 2008 and distributed for free among major international libraries. Niyazov once proclaimed that anyone who reads this book 3 times will become more intelligent, will recognize the divine being, and will go straight to heaven. After Niyazov's death, Deputy Prime Minister Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov became acting president, and was elected president in his own right on the 11th of February 2007 in elections condemned by international observers as fraudulent. On the 20th of March, in a decision of significant symbolical weight and the ongoing rejection of Niyazov's personality cult, he abolished the power of the president to rename any landmarks, institutions, or cities. After the death of Murat Niyazov, Turkmenistan's leadership made tentative moves to open up the country. Berdimuhamedov repealed some of Niyazov's most idiosyncratic policies, including banning opera and the circus for being insufficiently Turkmen. In education, his government increased basic education from 9 years to 10 years, and extended higher education from 2 years to 5. He has also increased contacts with the West, which is eager for access to the country's natural gas riches, but fears were mounting that the government would revert to Niyazov's draconian style of rule. The Constitution provides for freedom of the press, but the government does not practice it. The government controls all media outlets. Only two newspapers, Adalat and Galkanish, are nominally independent, but they were created by presidential decree. Cable television, which existed in the late 1980s, was shut down. Turkmen authorities restrict the activities of all but the officially recognized Russian Orthodox and Sunni Muslim faiths. Religious congregations must register with the government, and individual parishes must have at least 500 members to register. Severe measures deal with religious sects that have not been able to establish official ties of state recognition, especially Baptists, Pentecostals, Seventh-day Adventists, Hare Krishna, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Baha'is. Practitioners of these sects have allegedly been harassed, imprisoned, and/or tortured, according to some foreign human rights advocacy groups. Corruption continues to be pervasive. Power is concentrated in the presidency. The judiciary is wholly subservient to the regime, with all judges appointed for 5-year terms by the president without legislative review. Little has been done to prosecute corrupt officials. The United Nations General Assembly recognized and supported Turkmenistan's status of permanent neutrality on the 11th of January 1996. In September 2008, the People's Council unanimously passed a resolution adopting a new constitution. The latter resulted in the abolition of the council and a significant increase in the size of parliament in December 2008. The Constitution also enables the formation of multiple political parties. President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedow has stated that the new constitution corresponds to all international and democratic norms. Freedom of association. Formally, according to the Constitution, citizens of Turkmenistan have the right to set up political parties and other public associations, acting within the framework of the Constitution and the laws, and public associations and groups of citizens have the right to nominate their candidates in accordance with the election law. Current members of the Cabinet of Ministers. The members of the Cabinet of Ministers as of March 2015 are leaders of Turkmenistan since 1924. Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic First Secretaries of the Turkmen Communist Party Ivan Ivanovich Mizhlauk, Shaymartin Yuri Manovich Ibragimov, Nikolai Paskutsky, Grigory Naumovich Erenstam, Jakov Abramovich Popok, Anna Mukhomedova, Jakov Abramovich Tuban, Mikhail Mikhailovich Fonin, Shad Sabatrovich Batyrov, Sukan Babayevich Babayev, Dzet Humadirdi Karayev, Balisho Vazovich Ovazov, Muhammad Nizar Gapurovich Gapuro, Sapamarat Atayevich Nayuzao, Chairman of the Revolutionary Committee Kaykaziz Sidarovich Atabayev, Nadir Bayaitakov, Chairman of the Central Executive Committee Nadir Bayaitakov, Batatayev, Kovali Babayev, Chairman of the Supreme Soviet Aliberdi Berdiyev, Chairman of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet Kovali Babayev, Aliberdi Berdiev, Akhmamed Sarayev, Nurberdi Berimov, Animakamed Klichev, Bali Yazklievich Yazkuliyev, Rosa Atmuradovna Bazarova, Manakmain Norbelis Lumenichov, Alek Mangilabad Alij Karmadevich Kardiv Mindichov, Piron Ubadinovich Jonataka Toviev Sansloboch, Chairman of the Supreme Soviet Sapar Murat Atayevich Niyazev, President Sapar Murat Atayevich Niyazov, Gurbanguly Malikliyevich Berdimuhamedow. List of heads of government of Turkmenistan. Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic. Chairman of the Council of People's Commissars Kaykaziz Sidarovich Atabayev, Aitbekuday Berganov, Sukan Babayevich Babayev. Chairman of the Council of Ministers Sukan Babayevich Babayev, Balisho Vazovich Ovazov, Dzhumada Karayev, Balishov Ovazov, Abdi Analiyevich Analiyev, Muhammad Nizar Gapurovich Gapuro, Araz Nazarovich Araz Muhammadov, Bali Yazklievich Yazkuliyev, Cherry Sorinovich Karyev, Sapamarat Atayevich Nayuzao, Anamurat Hojamaradowik Hojamaradao, Hanarmedovich Ahmedov. Under the 1992 Constitution, the President is elected by popular vote for a 5-year term. Niyazov added the post of Chairman of the Supreme Soviet in January 1990, and was elected as the country's first president that October. He was the only candidate in Turkmenistan's first presidential elections in 1992. A 1994 plebiscite extended his term to 2002, and Parliament extended his term indefinitely in 1999. After the death of Niyazov, Deputy Prime Minister Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov took over, despite the fact that Özgel Atayu, the chairman of the Parliament of Turkmenistan, would be the next in line in the order of succession. The President appoints the Deputy Chairman of the Cabinet of Ministers. A presidential election to replace Niyazov was held on the 11th of February 2007. Legislative branch. Under the 1992 Constitution, there are two parliamentary bodies: a unicameral People's Council, a Hakmaslahati, and a unicameral Assembly, a Mejlis. Elections. People's Council, last held in April 2003. Mejlis, last held the 19th of December 2004. Election results. Mejlis, DPT 100%, seats by party, DPT 50. Note, all 50 elected officials are members of the Democratic Party of Turkmenistan and are pre-approved by President Niyazov. In late 2003 a new law was adopted reducing the powers of the Mejlis and making the Hakmaslahati the supreme legislative organ. The Hakmaslahati can now legally dissolve the Mejlis, and the President is now able to participate in the Mejlis as its supreme leader. The Mejlis can no longer adopt or amend the Constitution, or announce referendums or its elections. Since the President is both the chairman for life of the Hakmaslahati and the supreme leader of the Mejlis, the 2003 law has the effect of making him the sole authority of both the executive and legislative branches of government, political parties and elections. Turkmenistan was until recently a one-party state wherein only the Democratic Party of Turkmenistan was legally allowed to contest elections. Opposition parties are now legally allowed to form following the adoption of the new constitution. However, the political system is still heavily rigged in favor of the DPT, and no other parties have a realistic chance of winning power. There have been political parties and opposition groups in the past. A group named Xeberlik was banned in January 1990. Its members formed the Party for Democratic Development, which was itself banned in 1991. This led a coalition for democratic reform named Gengesh. The latest opposition party operates in exile and is named the Republican Party of Turkmenistan. Since all opposition was banned within Turkmenistan, it was forced to form and operate from abroad. In November 2009, state media in Turkmenistan published the names of candidates running in the parliamentary election that authorities described as a step toward democracy. Administrative divisions. Turkmenistan is divided into 5 provinces: Velayatlar, Ahul Province, Balkan Province, Dasigaz Province, Labap Province, Mary Province. Foreign policy. Foreign policy of Turkmenistan is based on the status of permanent positive neutrality recognized by the UN General Assembly Resolution on Permanent Neutrality of Turkmenistan on 12 December 1995. Articles on Turkmenistan's foreign policy as a neutral state, regional strategy of Ashgabat, neutral factor of Turkmenistan. The world recognized Turkmenistan's neutrality 9 years ago. Domestic policy. Restrictions on communication. In April 2015, the Turkmen government banned all satellite dishes on private homes and businesses in Turkmenistan. A statement issued by the government indicated that all existing satellite dishes would have to be removed or destroyed, in an effort by the government to fully block access of the population to many hundreds of independent international media outlets which are currently accessible in the country only through satellite dishes, including all leading international news channels in different languages. The main target of this campaign is Radio Azatalik, the Turkmen language service of Radio Liberty, Free Europe. It is the only independent source of information about Turkmenistan and the world in the Turkmen language and is widely listened to in the country. Quote, "This action was taken coincident with the launch of Turkmenim 52E, MonacoSat, Turkmenistan's first satellite, launched in late April 2015. International organization participation. Turkmenistan is affiliated to the CIS, EAPC, EBRD, ECE, ECO, ESCAP, FOIBRD, ICAO, ICRM, IDB, IFC, IFRCS, ILO, IMF, IMO, Intelsat, IOC, IOM, ISO, ITU, NAM, OIC, OPCW, OSCE, PFP, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UPU, WCO, WFDU, WHO, WIPO, WMO, WTO, WTO.